Good morning or good afternoon, guys. Figured I would pre-record this little demo for you because, the demo gods aren't always entirely kind. So, okay, what I have been doing is, first of all, I have refactored Gorm into a framework, Gorm Core, as well as Gorm Live is now the interface builder framework as well. Not only that, I have I moved the application itself here into the applications directory. I have entirely made everything in Gorm Core that actually interacts with setting up alerts and various other things into a delegate operation that calls into a delegate interface that I have created, or protocol that I have created in the application and also in the tool, because I have created something. I've created Gorm tool finally, which has been something that I wanted to do for a long time, but I wasn't able to do it. And I don't know. Let me show the README here. I need to make a man page for this and a usage thing for it. But mainly, Gorm Tool's entire purpose in life is to be like IB Tool. Okay, so it does these things, and I think it does actually more than this. There's some functions here that aren't mentioned. It can import strings. It can export strings files, but it can also now do XLIFF files, which is XLIFF file is an XML localization. I think it's interchange file format or something like that. It's a formalized XML format that allows you to edit files in an editor that will allow you to add translations so that it's easier for a translator to work on it. And examples of this created by Gorm are here. Hold on a second. I've put them into my little archives directory so that I can show you guys. Hold on. Bring my Emacs instance over here. Now, as you can see, it recursively goes down through all of the items, and it actually puts in the object ID here, which is the object ID that's used in Gorm. I can change this probably to be something more like what's used in what is it? Sorry, I have allergies, guys. What's used in zip files. But the idea is that if someone wanted to, in fact, this is my target thing here. If someone wanted to translate something, all they would have to do is say import this, and it would replace anything with this particular ID and has this to that. Okay. So that's, I did the export for this as well as the import. So when you import it, that would change it. But also, like for instance, Gorm tool can do that from the command line. So you can do anything. The idea with Gorm tool is that you should be able to do almost anything that you can do in Gorm graphically on the command line. Not yet, but that's the idea. Pardon me. Okay, now, what else I've been working on is, and you guys are going to love this, is the idea that, okay, let me see. Let me bring this up. I have a little test, a few tests that I've created. Here, hold on one second. box test, for instance. Oh, whoops. Box test. File. Okay, it's just a simple button in a box, in an NS box, in an NS window. Actually, let me bring up a slightly more interesting test here. Okay. Now, test buttons is a couple of buttons, and of course, let me just add something for a little bit more, you know, interest here. A box, and I'll add a another button here. All right, and save that. Now, what I can do now, couldn't do this before, but what I can do now is I can save as and switch over to saving a zip file. And I do have a previous version here, but I'm going to replace it. Okay, and here is the resulting zip file that Gorm has generated. I mean, as you can see, looks very familiar. And I had to write a method that would create the XIB IDs for it. These little numbers here, 756-C6, blah blah blah. And there is a particular way that is mapping those based on the name. But okay, and so to demonstrate that this actually does work on a Mac, I'm going to pull it in here. As you can see, I've been testing this a lot. And it was testbuttons.zib, so we'll open test buttons. And here we go. I mean, a few minor issues, like, the button is not quite wide enough, but that's a font issue, I believe. I've got attributes for the window and the button and various other things encoding properly. Some of this stuff is due to the fact that in a number of different places, there are patterns that are, repeated throughout through AppKit and stuff like that, where we use similar properties. What I did in Gorm was I wrote a method that will get all the methods on a particular class, and then figure out which ones are properties, and then allow us to retrieve those. And then based on whether it's a structure or an object or something like that, I implement a method that decodes it and puts it into whatever is whatever as an XML element or as an XML attribute, And I found that depends on whether or not something is either a bitwise field, a structure, or an object. If it's just an integer, it's going to be stored as just one thing. But if it's like bitwise stuff, then it'll be stored as, yeah, as booleans, like with the window flags and such. So, I mean, this is ongoing. It's not perfect yet. It is on a branch in my repository. Sorry, in the Gorm. Pardon me. In the Gorm repository, known as I think it's. Hold on. Yep, known as model changes. Hold on a second. I'm going to just go ahead and commit whatever I've got here. But yeah, as you can see, this works just fine, at least so far. And next is I've got buttons and views and the window, and NS box and stuff like that, pretty down. I'm going to start working on scroll view and table view, as well as outline view and so on. Right now it is in a. I did not do this as a keyed archiver because I figured that would complicate things. It is done using a recursive set of methods that basically generates the XML as it goes, and that I have found is pretty much the same amount of code as our keyed unarchiver is, and we don't have to deal with doing the messy transform into the nib file format, or from it rather. Anyway, so thank you, and I hope I will be talking to you guys later today. Thanks.